Hey guys, and welcome to episode 39 of How I Made My First $1 Million. Today we are looking at the numbers from December 1st, 2023. So let's dive in. As usual, we start with the balance sheet. Assets, $45,000 and change, up $700 from last month. Okay, it's not nothing. Liabilities still $70,000 unchanged. Net worth negative $24,800. It is $700 more positive than last month. I guess that's moving in the right direction. Still negative almost 25,000. It seriously is so funny when I step back and think about it. But anyways, so what happened with the assets here? Okay, first thing to notice is that cash is $6,700 more positive. So we were running a negative cash position for a while because of short-term debt that kind of accumulated. I'm in the process of paying that off. And you can see here that crypto is down a ton, but if you've actually been paying attention, you know that Bitcoin, the only crypto I own, was up a lot in whatever month this is, November. So it was up a lot, but yet my holdings are down. That's because I had like 10 grand just sitting in my Coinbase account and I took it out, and that's why the cash is up so much higher. And I'm using that to pay off the short-term debt. So it is, it's like the irony is not lost on me that I've been like such a diehard proponent of Bitcoin. I've been hodling it for, I don't know, 7-8 years. I lose track now. And then now I'm selling it like right before the bull market. I mean, it's so clear that we're going to be in a bull market for at least another 6 months. Possibly more. I might even say probably more, probably longer. So anyways, yeah, that's stinky. So I feel like I'm losing out on a huge opportunity cost, but spiritual growth is more important than financial growth. So that's what I'm prioritizing, Just got to do it. Just trying to grow as a person. So anyways, gold up a tiny bit. Like I said, it was about 10 grand I pulled out of Bitcoin, but then, it was up, I don't know, roughly 10% or something like that. And I did start lending on Kiva a bit more. So there's, $300 or $400 there. That's the balance sheet. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so we've got 3 data points in a row. They're like in a perfectly straight line, actually. Negative 25.9, negative 25.5, 24.8. Okay, so very close to being in a perfectly straight line. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. It's not impressive, although it's so funny up here. I mean, this is a bull market, and it's also me not cashing out during a bull market. But, live and learn. All right, let's look at the income statement. So what do we have here? Well, if you recall, there were no revenues in October from anything, selling investments, anything, nothing. And now we've got, we just had it, over 10,000 in November. Yeah, slightly over 10,000 was, Bitcoin, like I said, just cash that was sitting in my Coinbase account. So I pulled that out. And wages and salary, $675. So I got paid for working at Rite of Passage. So that was awesome. And yeah, I mean, something is better than nothing, I suppose, right? So yeah, super grateful for the opportunity and for the compensation that comes with it. So that's cool. Expenses. Okay. Well, I'm not really paying rent at the moment because I already paid it. I think it must have been in September. Did I pay it that long ago? Yeah, I guess I did. I paid it in September for October, November, December. So rent is unusually low. And a lot of this stuff is me paying off debt from, just living expenses throughout the year. I basically didn't want to sell Bitcoin to pay for things, just waiting for the bull market. And finally, it's like, all right, that's not a good spiritual strategy. Might be a good financial one, but not spiritual. So anyways, I don't really know what to say about this because so many of these expenses weren't actually incurred in this month. It's like paying it back from previous months. So yeah, probably not even worth diving into that too much. yeah, so that's the income statement. Statement of cash flows. Yeah. Okay. Operating flows. Yeah. Getting money from employment. That's really nice. And actually, the one thing I will say here while we have these numbers here, I was down 6,000. Now I'm only down 3,000. So really what the place we want to get to is a positive operating cash flow. So like this number right here, this negative 3,000, this is what we want to be positive. And now that I have a job and I'm going to start getting paychecks, that should be doable. And that should be an expectation for every month moving forward. Operating positive cash flow. That's like if you're living within your means, that number is positive every month. Investing, I mean, this is, I've been selling Bitcoin or other investments. And so that's why that typically is a positive number. But like, I don't really want to be doing that. I want that to be a negative number. So like the goal there is make that a negative number. Essentially, that means I'm putting money into investments. Okay, and then financing. This one's not as clear cut because I'm spending money on donations and spending money, to lend it, and I could potentially do other financing activities. And ultimately, I'd like to get money back from lending, but it sort of is like a soft goal to just perpetually be lending, and donating for that matter. So like, I kind of want these to be negative, but that's not necessarily a sign of health. It's not necessarily the most important goal here. So anyways, that's the statement of cash flows. Yeah, interesting. It was an outflow of 6,000. Now it's an inflow of 6,000. But again, when you're pulling 10K out of Bitcoin, that's going to do it. All right, let's do the updates. So what happened in November? Well, I'm spending a lot of time working. So that's, the bulk of my time every single day. I'll elaborate on that in a little bit. Some vegetables in our garden died. Yeah, more. I mentioned this last time, and then we were expanding to like kind of experiment a little differently. I'm not sure we have any answers other than more plants died, and it was a result of frost overnight. So we live in Florida, and normally it doesn't like freeze outside overnight, but a couple nights it did, and some plants died as a result. So yeah, a lot of tough lessons in the garden, but that's how it goes. All right, relationship with body. Waking up at sunrise. I definitely do this more often than not, and so many days I wake up before my alarm. So my alarm is usually like 6:45. Sunrise, obviously it changes it a little bit every day, but it's slightly after 7 o'clock. So I'm up 15, 20, 25 minutes before the sun most mornings, and sometimes I even wake up before my alarm. I'll get up at 6:15, 6:30, sometimes even in the 5 o'clocks, just naturally. So that's cool. Also, I don't think I wrote this down, but I started going outside and just standing in the backyard grounding, just with bare feet on the grass in the morning. So that's nice, and I just watch the sunrise while the dog runs around the yard. So yeah, it's kind of nice. I also take cold showers a lot. I don't really know if it's 30%. I don't write it down. I mean, it's not that important to like document it on a daily basis. I just, these videos are nice monthly because I can reflect on like, hey, am I actually doing the things that I want to do? Yeah, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. And relatedly, push-ups, sit-ups, squats. I did this three times. I mean, and didn't lift weights at all in November. Didn't play golf or disc golf, and only did yoga 3 times. So when I sit back and reflect on this, I just think like, wow, this is like a real big underperformance. And part of the reason for that is that I spent so much time working. So I have a habit of just like waking up when there's a job to do. Like in the past, I had 2 full-time jobs simultaneously. At one point, I even had 2.5 full-time jobs, 2 full-time jobs and 1 half-time job simultaneously. And I would just wake up and immediately start working. And, next thing you know, I'm just like working, and then it's time for bed. And like the whole day goes by and I don't, lift weights or work out or do yoga or like take care of a lot of things that should be taken care of. So that's a habit I have. So it's good to reflect on this, and I realize that's got to change. It's time to break that pattern, because otherwise I just burn out, and that's not good for anybody. Softball practice, only one time. I mentioned that my buddy that I play with is going through some stuff. He still is. But we practiced one time together in November. So that's good. It's good to get out there for both of us. Rite of Passage ended in November. I mentioned that. That community is awesome. And someone recommended a book to me. Someone from that community recommended a book to me, which I will elaborate on in just a second. I have a few standing Zoom meetings with friends. Like, it's so funny because, just living in a different city than where I grew up in, like all my friends and family are like elsewhere. They're all elsewhere. And then with Rite of Passage and other online communities, everyone is online. So like they live in a different city too. So it's interesting that like standing Zoom meetings, like that's the equivalent of like, grabbing a beer with buddies, after work or something. Like that's just, in the internet age, like that's kind of what it is. So it's cool. So it's nice to have some of those on the calendar. Went to New York for Thanksgiving. So flew into Buffalo, spent a couple days there, drove to Rochester, spent a couple days there, and then flew back. That went by in the blink of an eye, but it was really good to see a whole lot of people, different families and friends and everything. There were tons more people I wanted to see, and there just simply wasn't enough time. So, yeah, it was great. It was so great to see everyone. And lastly, full-time job at GoldSilver. So that's been 7 weeks, something like that. And I'm making about 2 videos a week, plus a couple extras that we have sitting in the bank. So that's good. It's a lot of work. There's really no like limit to it. Like it's essentially like doing analyses and making videos, and there's no limit to how many things I could analyze or research or make videos for. It's like there's no limit. So like if I don't watch myself and like literally set an alarm, I'll just like work too much. So it's good. I really enjoy it, and like there's something for me to channel my energy. I just need to like make sure I don't overdo it, because I have a bad habit of that. So anyway, relationship with self. Daily 15-minute meditation. I stopped using the Headspace app because it just simply wouldn't load on my phone. I mean, it's such a strange reason to stop, but I would click on the app and it would just like essentially spin and try to load and then not load. So that became kind of frustrating, and like I started meditating on, the brokenness of the meditation app. It's kind of funny. So like I would say I did this less than 10% of the time because, just the app simply wouldn't load. So instead of doing a guided 15-minute meditation with like a timer and someone's voice, I would just, sometimes sit and watch my thoughts. And I do that, I don't know, regularly, sometimes multiple times a day. So I'm not like formally keeping track of it, but that's just the evolution of the meditation game. I'm also walking a little bit. Sometimes I walk with Anne, sometimes by myself. That's good, get outside and walk around. Reading the Book of Awakening. I don't think I touched that a single day in November, but I want to get back to it. It's a great book. I probably will. Although one of the yoga classes that I take is taught by a teacher who sometimes reads from this book. So I'm sort of like reading it indirectly a little bit. The Space Within, again, didn't touch that for the entire month, but I will go back to it for sure. I think I only have like an hour left of the book. But the one I am reading is The Nature of Personal Reality by Jane Roberts. And this is the book that was recommended to me by someone from Rite of Passage. I happen to have it right here. The Nature of Personal Reality. I could talk about this for so long. You know what? I'm actually going to pull up a quote. There's one that really got me. There's so many good ones. I probably should have planned this out and found it before I started recording. But there's just so many good ones. I don't know. Shoot. I thought it was earlier in the book. Was it in the intro? Oh, it was probably the intro. Yeah. I'm close. Hang on, I'm close. There it is. I found it. Okay. It was super early in the book. The nature of personal reality. It's like, why are our lives the way they are? Like, why do I have a negative net worth? Like, why, just whatever. Literally anything. Why am I tall or short or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. Absolutely everything. And here's the quote from the book. What exists physically exists first in thought and feeling. There is no other rule. That's it. And the entire book is that. What exists physically exists first in thought and feeling. There is no other rule. That is basically the thesis of the book. That your entire personal reality is something that you thought or felt in advance, whether you were aware of it or not. So I'm grappling with that idea. I'm just sort of like mulling it over as I go through the book. And there's so many like examples and directions to go with that. But it is absolutely fascinating to just consider that. Like, oh, if you have bad luck or you're rich or you're ugly or you're famous, whatever, absolutely anything. If it's cold outside, this is actually an example in the book. It first existed in your thoughts and your feelings. It was probably subconscious. So anyways, wow. The implications of that are like absolutely unbelievable. So anyways, I'm thinking about that a lot, like a lot. So anyways, that's a great book. I'm savoring every word of it. And basically when I read a page, I pretty much read it again. And then I think, okay, what can I highlight from here? So like I'm sort of reading the book like 2 or 3 times as I go. It's a very slow process, but it's amazing. Okay. Posted 0 articles and videos. Yeah, these are like of my own things because obviously my full-time job is basically helping with the newsletter, which is an article or a set of articles, and making videos. Like this is kind of literally my job now, which is kind of funny, but again, it existed in my thoughts and feelings before it existed in my reality. So not a coincidence. I'm also playing a little bit of chess, but not that much. So, okay, to wrap it out, wrap it up. Thinking, feeling, doing. Well, that's everything I'm doing. I mean, basically, that's everything I'm doing. And I'm thinking how important spiritual growth is. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I have so many friends who have different problems or struggles. And obviously Anne is a therapist, so like her job is to talk to people who perceive that they have problems of different forms in their life. And I say perceive because, if you say like what your reality is, and then you say, well, that's a problem and I want to change it, someone else could very well have that exact same reality and just absolutely love it. So like, it's so funny. It's so funny, like what we think is a problem in our own lives. And then we look at other people's lives and we're like, man, that person has problems. It's like, well, maybe not from their perspective. It's so funny. So I'm thinking about all that, like, what determines what is a problem? I mean, it's completely subjective. How am I feeling? I'm feeling very excited for the future. I think my financial journey is going to turn around because I've been thinking and feeling that way for a while. And I've been thinking and feeling for for years that I sort of had to go through something like this, negative net worth, kind of like losing so much, unloading so much Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm aware that I've been thinking that way for a long time. So yeah, I probably didn't have to do it, but it was a choice, So feeling excited for the future ahead. And actually, wow, I can't believe it. So next time we see each other will be in the new year, right? It'll be the January 1st video, which will come out, 7, 8, 10 days later. Wow. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great set of holidays, New Year, everything, and see you guys next month. Thanks a lot.